Hello everyone, how is everybody doing? It's me, 24K Hector, and welcome to 24K Lorcana. It's been a minute, guys. It's been definitely a minute, but that is because I had to go from just YouTube content creating to kind of putting that competitive grind mindset, right? Because we actually know DLC Milwaukee is coming up, and it is kind of with the way my life is and everything. As you guys see, even the podcast has been a little bit slacking as of late because we've been grinding, we've been testing, and I've been kind of just been putting my mindset to that for Milwaukee. But I definitely did not want to leave without saying a video, without giving you guys a video on my thoughts on Milwaukee, the whole meta game and what to expect, and how should you prepare for, let's say, Milwaukee, as in what deck to take, or how to counter the decks that you believe are going to be there. So I did want to kind of give you guys this. First of all, if you guys have not hit that like and subscribe, make sure you do so. On the description below, there's going to be my Instagram. So slowly, I had just started it, but go ahead and follow there because it's going to take you through a lot of my stories, my feeds, or of Milwaukee. I'm going to leave on. I should be getting there on Thursday. And I'm going to kind of take you guys through the journey a lot. So I'm going to be posting a lot, but not just that. If you guys want to make sure, hey, Hector's not posting a lot of videos, I can't keep up with the deck profiles, I will be posting more deck images or like deck profiles on a post on Instagram. So because I'm not always able to give you guys some videos, I will also be able to give you guys some posts of like what to play, or you guys say a color, and I can post it on Instagram as well. You guys are also able to message me there more freely. So go ahead and do that for Instagram. But let's get to it. Milwaukee, guys, everyone's doing tier lists. Everyone's doing what deck to be, what deck should we place in that. As we know, it is pretty much a paper, rock, scissors format. Now, what I mean by that is we had talked about it in the podcast. Make sure you guys check that out. I think it should have already been posted by the time you guys see this. But paper, rock, scissors, what it means is like, if it's all kind of relying around Blurple right now, right? So Blurple's taking what it took like 36% of Bologna. I don't know how to say it, Bologna. But it took like 36% of the meta share. So with that being said, it's pretty much Blurple, right? Rock, or whatever, scissors, paper, whatever you want to make it, probably rock. And then it's pretty much the decks that beat Blurple, which is Amber, Steel, and Dogs, right? Okay, so then you have those two, right? And then you have the scissors that are the purple, steel, and the green, blue that beat the paper, which is the Amber, Steel, and the Dogs, right, per se. So then we have kind of this going around because then the rock beats the scissors, and you guys get what I mean by that. So what deck should you take if you're going to Milwaukee? Well, that a lot of comes to it is, since we're in a paper, rock, scissors format, I don't think you're wrong with taking any of the choices of paper, rock, and scissors, except for one deck. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Green, blue. I think green blue is actually in a pretty horrible spot right now. I think its purple matchup got pretty rough ever since two monstrous standard have been adding into the deck. Also, good purple players know how to play around green blue, and it lives and dies by the Clarabelle. It just feels like the deck, when it does not hit Clarabelle, it is a pretty bad deck. So I would not consider that as an option. That's just me. I know it has potentials to Under the Sea, aggro decks, and that, but everyone has a route to be able to be aggro without having to do that. With that being said, I think purple, steel as the remaining scissors, right? Yeah, as a remaining scissor deck is a great choice. I think it's a great choice because it has pretty good matchups into Amber, Steel, Dogs, any aggro, right? It is always going to get to play. It is always going to be consistent. So purple, steel will always just be a solid option. Also, on the play against Blurple, it's definitely winnable. A lot of purple, steel players tell you this. I go to game 3s against purple, steel all the time when I play Blurple. So, and I have lost before. So I'm pretty sure a Blurple player will tell you they have lost to purple, steel before. So it's an unfavorable matchup, but it's definitely still a purple, steel matchup, which means it can still win. We go on into the paper, right? And then we were talking about Amber, Steel, and Dogs. Great choices. If you feel more comfortable, something more easier to pilot that can beat Blurple, Amber, Steel is the way to go. Amber, Steel is just the way to go because it's going to punish Blurple. Yeah, you're a little bit favored, but remember, right now, the way favored and unfavored, it's not huge gaps. It's a little bit, guys. So Blurple can still beat you, but if you want to go in with the favorable matchup, it is definitely going to be Amber Steel, right? It is something that's easier to pilot than dogs. Um, and it's something that your games don't take forever. So when you're thinking about a 10 round, 12 round tournament, Amber Steel is definitely not a bad option. Even on the play against Purple Steel, you definitely feels favorable there, right? When you go Daisy, Tiana, Bodyguard, and then just Quest. There's only so much Purple Steel can do. So I think that's definitely a great choice. But if you definitely feel another level and you've been testing and grinding dogs, this take a little bit more skill, but it's definitely a wise choice, because I think it has the route that it can under the sea people. It's like a weird aggro deck because it doesn't necessarily need to go aggro. It can play the patient and control game as well, which is very good. I actually think dogs is the hardest deck to pilot this format. So that's that choice right there. If you're feeling comfortable with that. But remember, it is very hard to play. You can't just pick it up overnight. Rock. We're going with Blurple, guys. So with Blurple, it is going to be a choice that you have been accepting, that everyone in the room knows you're going to be there, knows how to play against your deck, and has a strategy to beat your deck. You have to be able to be comfortable and skillfully comfortable enough to be able to take that deck. Now, with that being said, there's a reason why everyone's targeting that deck. There's a reason why everyone's trying to beat that deck, because the deck is good, right? It's going to ramp on 2, and as long as you ramp on 2, the deck just feels like it's just one step ahead of everybody, right? On the play against aggro, you feel fine. So it's like just strong levels up against Purple Steel. You feel really good, especially if you're on the play. So I will say this, I believe it's the best deck on the play, because it has consistency. As long as it just ramps on 2, I believe it is the best deck to be on the play with. So you have those choices there, and you guys just got to choose. I think either of those you can go, and you will not have a wrong choice. Again, if you go Amber Steel and you face a bunch of dogs all day and a bunch of green blues all day, sucks. If you take Purple Steel and you face a bunch of Blurp all day, sucks. If you take Blurp and you face a bunch of Amber Steels that day, sucks. Like, you know what it is? No matter kind of what route you go with, you kind of have these paper, rock, scissors format. And then there's the 3 outliers that I like to call the 3 outliers that are kind of on the side that, you know what? I can kind of win against rock, I can kind of win against scissor, and I can kind of win against paper, because I have a strategy against all of them. My deck is a little bit inconsistent, but I have a plan against all of them. And if my deck does what it does, I feel like I can top that day. And those 3 outliers are green steel, blue steel, and green purple. Now, if those routes have the road that they want to go on, and it just goes their way, it can take off. Ask a blue steel player how they will do if I tell them that their matchups are just going to be dogs and purple steel and green blue, because we're actually favored into green blue as well, right? So there's these scenarios. Also the way it's kind of been built now, the hybrid version of blue steel, it can actually have a pretty good shot against Blurple when it's on the play. So green steel, as you guys know, there's that whole Chromicon. It can bounce back dock. What does your deck do that other decks can't? Well, it's the only deck that could be bouncing dock off of Chromicon. It is the only deck that it can have a control matchup, but still go aggro against Blurple as well. Kind of like dogs. You know, Chromicon allows that. Now, how much has Chromicon fallen off? 1, people have noticed Chromicon is bad on the draw. 2, if you go against another aggro, then they can just race you, right? So there's a lot of scenarios. 3, you know, save you into the unknown, save your Hades, get there, play your genies, quest your genies. There's a lot of kind of ways to counter sometimes the Chromicon. If you don't have 2 Chromicons, then 1 Chromicon is definitely manageable. So now, how much do you really go that route, right? But green steel is definitely a powerhouse. As it has Luis, the alligator, and then it has Chromicon bouncing the dock, and then it has, you know, strength of a raging fire as well with all those weapons. It has good 3 drops, good 2 drops, good 4 drops. It's a good deck. Then you have green purple. Now I'm talking about not your standard green purple. I am talking about your Cusco with your Mother Gothels and your bounce package and your mid-range deck. So there's that green purple variant that practically has like 100% win rate against Blurple. That's why you would take that deck. Now, people don't understand. If this is a 12-round tournament, if you're planning to play 12 rounds, let's just go and say you're planning to play 12 rounds. If Blurple is at 36%, right? Let's just say, which I don't think so. I believe it's actually going to drop. That was a very huge on day one. And I think people have realized more people are countering Blurple. So I think it's going to drop down to a good 33%. Statistically speaking, out of the 12 rounds, you are bound to face Blurple 3 to 4 times. Now, that's a lot. But if you're 100% win rates against Blurple and you get those 3 to 4 wins, how is your win rate against everything else? It better be really good. And that is kind of the only issue that is stopping green purple from kind of just taking off, is that it seems to be struggling against, you know, the steel decks per se. It needs to set up. So the decks that don't allow it to set up, you know, it can be rough against aggro because it doesn't get to ramp to Under the Sea. You need the shift lines. And if you don't see those shift lines, it's kind of very fragile, right? So there's definitely downsides to playing any of these 3 outliers. But if you feel very comfortable, then go ahead. You know, I'm still in the back pocket. Still very cautious, and I still have to finish a little bit of testing, but I might even, you know, take blue steel because I think it could be a very good option for this Milwaukee DLC. Then again, you can say that's bias. That's fair, but I think it's a very good spot. When blue steel feels bad, I will say it feels bad. So I think definitely with the rise in purple steel, I do see blue steel coming up a little bit rise. So just be prepared, or expect if you see 1 or 2 on your 12 rounds, don't be too surprised, right? But that is kind of the meta. That is kind of where we are, guys. We have this set champs, and then you guys kind of got to see kind of how the thing going about it. I did go to the hardest set champs I could just to prepare myself for Milwaukee. I got 3 out of 6 dragons. So I did 6 set champs and I got 3 dragons. It's all right. I think I did all right. I think I do feel comfortable enough to going into Milwaukee, but I definitely wanted to give you guys a meta report and kind of how I feel about the meta. Yeah, then we have the side events that are going to come up. Infinity, that's a whole nother monster. I will say that for another day, guys. But make sure you guys are locked in. Any questions that you guys have, make sure you guys message me on the Instagram. I will be out there. I hope to see some of you guys there. And let me know, what are your thoughts? You know, what do you guys think is a way to go? Is it paper? You know, with the purple steel and with the amber steel and dogs. Is it rock with blurple? Or is it scissors with purple steel and green blue? And what do you guys think? But I definitely think it's going to turn out to be a great DLC. And shout out to my sponsor, Top Choice Gaming, you know, because I would not be able to be out there without them. That's all I have for you guys. Make sure you guys hit a like, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you guys there. I'll catch you on to the next one. Let's get it.